I rise today to express, frankly, my bewilderment as well as my opposition to 4053. I just cannot comprehend this bill. Sections 1 and 2 serve to establish English as the official language of this state and demand its use in government documents and proceedings. I'm unaware of any government documents or proceedings that are conducted exclusively in a language other than English. However, during the height of the Flint water crisis, producing information only in English left non-English speakers, particularly the sizable Spanish-speaking population, in the dark about the dangers contained in their water. Section 3 of this bill states the obvious, that this legislation doesn't have the ability to negate the state and federal constitution. Section 4 states that in addition to English, the government can also produce materials in other languages. This isn't new. It's not a new permission. The state already can and does produce materials in other languages. Section 4, subsection 2 seems to be the only new piece of this legislation, by requiring that documents originally produced in another language must also be produced in English. However, this section does not say who must provide the translation, in what time frame it must be produced and translated, nor how it should be paid for. How are we going to pay for this? A requirement with no accountability is unenforceable. Section 5 would appear to state, again, the obvious times when non-English documents would be allowed, and that this bill doesn't usurp federal law. It states the obvious. This bill solves no problems. In fact, it doesn't grant any new permissions and makes no enforceable requirements. But perhaps actually, it's going to cost us a lot. Look at that beautiful seal in Latin. When we have an official state document, we put the state seal on it, and it's in Latin. This makes no sense. So this leads me to believe, Mr. Speaker, what is the point of this legislation? Don't we have other things to work on? What is the point? We have roads to fix, schools to improve, and mental health services to fix. Any reasonable observer would conclude that this bill is meant only to be inflammatory and divisive. We are at a time in this country and in this state when we should be working towards being more compassionate. We need to be more compassionate and embrace the array of cultures, like in my district. 80 languages are spoken by the families of the kids in my school district. These are the cultures that make up communities, and the communities are the fiber of our state. This legislation, with all of its lacking in substantive policy, it does just the opposite. I implore my colleagues to reject this divisive and frankly pointless bill so that we can focus on more practical policy solutions that our state deserves our time to be spent on.